What's up, everybody? This is Zach with the Nerd Cave Podcast, and today I'm all by myself. No one's here but me. This is episode 173, and Derek and Robbie are working. So, jumped in front of a camera. Didn't want to leave you without all the nerdy news that you need for a week. You would have been lonely. You would have missed everything. You would have just been in the dark. So, that's what I'm going to be bringing you today. Guys, if you don't know, we break up all of our podcasts throughout the week. You can get it on Fridays and everything on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, all the podcast services. But if you want it early, if you want it Monday, you want to be ahead of everybody else, go check out our Patreon at patreon.com/nerdcave. There, you'll be able to get all the good stuff, all of it. You'll be able to get our exclusive podcast for every month. You'll be able to get this early. You'll be able to get the video version early, and a lot of different other things. If you want us to talk about specific stuff, you can go there. It's all there. Patreon.com/nerdcave. First one I've ever done by myself. So this is going to be a little bit interesting. So why don't we go ahead and get into the news? There's a lot of stuff been going on, video game-wise, movie-wise, TV-wise. So going to jump in. We've got some questions that I'll be answering throughout the show. But it's coming to fall TV season. And there's a lot of new things that are going to be coming out that I think you should be watching. Narcos is one definitely that I am looking forward to. This will be season 2 of that. And this, of course, is about the FBI and all of that trying to get Pablo Escobar. So if you're looking for something that's really gritty, then you need to watch this. I'll read a little about it. With Colombian cocaine kingpin Pablo Escobar having narrowly escaped prison at the end of season 1, the hunt is on in season 2 of Netflix's Narcos. But as Agent Murphy and Pena, I guess that's his name, discover Pablo is never more dangerous than when you almost have him. That will be premiering September 2nd on Netflix. So check that out. One that is I've been seeing more and more, especially on like YouTube's ads and everything, is Atlanta. And this is a series created by the community's Donald Glover. If you haven't seen Donald Glover, he's also a rapper. But the series is going to be kind of a semi-autobiographical drama about two cousins that are working in Atlanta's music scene. Really interested to see where this goes. I hope it does well. Danny Glover is a really good actor. I think he's a really good rapper as well. So check that out. That will be on FX, and that will be on September 6th, this coming up month. American Horror Story, like everybody else knows about that. Big Bang Theory is coming back again. Lucifer, Gotham. A lot of good things coming from Gotham from what I've read. I haven't kept up with it since season 1, but the premiere date for the newest season, season 3, is on September 19th. Gotham's 3rd season will bring us a little proto version of Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Alice Obsessed Mad Hatter, and Solomon Grundy, which I'm really interested on what they do with Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy's always just been like this huge hulking zombie guy, and that's pretty much been all that he's been. So interesting to see what they do there. Also, they've aged up Poison Ivy a lot, where she's around mid-20s, 30s, pretty much where all the main cast is, their age, which apparently is due to an Indian Hill patient having the power to steal years of people's lives. So that's where that is. And Alfred gets a love interest. I really enjoyed Gotham, but there was things in the first season that just kind of turned me off to it. I think the guy that plays Bruce Wayne is doing a phenomenal job. And hopefully, if I get back into it, it'll be a little bit better. But a lot of different shows coming out. Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., of course, will have the Ghost Rider in it. That will be a big thing. Ghost Rider blazes onto TV this season, played by Gabriel Luna. Now, this is not our Nicolas Cage version or the normal version of Ghost Rider that we've seen in years past. This is the updated Latino version, which I think was a really good comic series, but got killed very, very quickly because people were not buying it. But I love the art style. I loved what they were doing with it, but this is where they're going with it. This is S.H.I.E.L.D.'s 4th season and a new Tuesday time slot at 10 p.m. That cannot be good. If they're moving S.H.I.E.L.D. to a 10 p.m. slot on a Tuesday, they're pretty much putting this thing out to die. They've been moved several times. That means they're not getting the ratings that they should, and now they're moving them even further back. So I'm not expecting this show to last much longer. Agent Carter, I wish would have done better and would have come back again. But I think ABC and NBC and some of these bigger companies that aren't like CW are finding it hard to keep these shows going, because if you look at Flash or Arrow or Legends of Tomorrow, they have that niche on there and they know how to market them, because CW has pretty much become the superhero network. But if you're interested in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be airing on the 20th of September at 10 p.m. Just not a good thing there. But this is pilot season. There will be a ton of new pilots for a lot of different shows. So if you're interested in seeing all of those, definitely check those out. But in the age that we live in right now, we are very prone to watching content after it's aired, and Netflix is, of course, the best place to do that. So September is coming very, very quickly, and there are some pretty big names coming to Netflix, such as Marvel's Luke Cage, which I am stoked about. Narcos, again, Longmire will be also there. Notable movies are Saving Private Ryan, Top Gun, Zootopia, which if you have not watched Zootopia, you are doing yourself a disservice. Babel, and then if you're a Jaws fan, this is your time. You're going to be getting all 4 Jaws movies, so check that out. And of course, we'll be getting the newest season of Walking Dead, Penny Dreadful, Luther, The Blacklist, Gallivant, Supergirl, Family Guy, and New Girl, which I'm excited to see Supergirl because I haven't watched any of that. I'm hoping to get caught up on all of the shows, so hopefully I'll have the time for that. But there's a ton of other shows, Hoot, movies, Scary Movie 2, just a ton of them that will be going on there. U571, which you haven't watched that movie, I don't know what you're doing with your life. It's got John Bon Jovi in it. That's all you need to know. Got John Bon Jovi, and it's about U-boats. What's leaving Netflix? Now, when we get new stuff on Netflix, we always lose stuff. So it's just, they giveth and they taketh away. So what they're taking away is one of the best movies ever made, Too Fast, Too Furious. So go cry right now. Go cry. Unless you have the nice little tire set, then you can keep watching it. Primal Fear, Zoolander, The Bridge on the River Kwai, which is a really good movie. The Color Purple, and there will be a ton more. Also, you will be losing Fringe, A Walk to Remember, and there's a whole list on IGN if you want to look at those. But there's a lot of stuff leaving, but there's a lot of stuff being added. So you can't really complain on that. But shout out to Netflix there. Just a great service. You can't beat it. Now, some news that I like to hear, that I liked leaked, that I'm glad that's coming. The PS4 Slim is real. It's been confirmed. There was a lot of rumors, a lot of pictures flying around and everything. But it is real, and if you haven't seen any of them, then you need to look at some of these pictures. And it is a lot thinner. It's a little bit smaller than the PS4, the original PS4, but Twitter user Shortman82 spotted the PS4 Slim on Gumtree and NeoGAF users, but it is a very matte finish. One thing that I really like is the feet on the bottom. The little plastic feet are the button faces, like the triangle, the circle, the square, and the X. I think that's a really cool nod to what this thing is. Really, really cool looking. It's nothing spectacular. It's not like the Scorpio, which they haven't even showed any of that, but it's a nice way of refreshing, getting rid of the shiny part of it, making it a little bit smaller. And, of course, they're making it cheaper to buy because they're making it cheaper to make. They also took out the optical port from that. Sony will be holding an event on the 7th of September in New York, sorry about that, where it will announce the more powerful system, the PS4 Neo and the PS4 Slim. This is from Eurogamer. Eurogamer understands the PS4 Slim will be released shortly after the event later in September. We don't know much about the cost, however, the expectation it will be cheaper than the original PS4. So I think with the Slim being out there, it's saying we're not giving up on the original PS4 with its set of chips and everything. So if you haven't got one and you don't want to drop the ton of cash that the Neo will be, then get the Neo. It'll be cheaper, it'll be newer parts and everything, or you can of course get the regular PS4 that's been out for a while. So it's all up to what you want on that, but I'm really excited about what's happening. The Xbox Slim looks really good. They finally got rid of that ugly power brick. The PS4 Slim, if you're if you use optical sound for everything, then you're kind of out, but you of course could still get a regular PS4. And I'm assuming the Neo will have it, but it's not that big of a deal. Not many people use the optical out for their sound, maybe for a sound bar, but it's not that big of a deal. Moving to Nintendo, though, the Nintendo NX detachable controllers will reportedly feature motion sensing and advanced vibration. Vibration. There we go, guys. According to a report from Let's Play Video Games via Eurogamer, the controllers, which are said to clip on either side of the device, will include motion sensors similar to what is featured in the Wii Remote Plus. Additionally, the controllers are rumored to feature some form of advanced vibration force feedback. This will be kind of like the Vive controller. They said which alters intensity, pulsing patterns, and duration of vibration to mimic the sensation of range of different movement types. Such as hitting a tennis ball would feel different from striking a sword against a shield or something. It would be a different feel. The rumor also claims that Nintendo is planning to phase out the Wii Remote over time with this new detachable controller through players with Wii Remotes will still be able to use the older controllers for select multiplayer games. Just Dance 2017 will reportedly release along the NX on launch day and support the new detachable controllers as well as the Wii Remotes. The NX is expected to launch in March 2017. I'm hoping that the rumors are true, that it's going to be the TV cross portable type thing. I think it's going to be really good. I'm really looking forward to it. With the expectation it won't be able to match everything that others can do, but hopefully it will be the thing that we want it to be. Nintendo does a really good job with their portables, and I hope that they build up this as something that can be something we want. Don't give us a gimmick. Don't give us something that we don't want. Give us good games. Give us a good device that's built really well. I know me and Derek went pretty in-depth with this a few weeks ago on the podcast. So if you want to hear more about that, us talking about it, you can find that on our YouTube channel. But interesting that they're trying to get rid of that, and I'm liking that they're putting more into the controllers than just a left, right, up and down, your analog sticks and your A, B, Y, and X. So, giving that little oomph, giving it that something that it's more than just input, that it's giving you the player feedback, that it has that kind of dual shock in there. Now, there has been I've always enjoyed the Attack on Titan series once I gave it a chance. The first 2 episodes creeped me out. I did not want anything to do with it. And then I eventually gave it a chance, not watching those first 2 episodes, and really got into the show and really enjoyed it. And I've got to watch some gameplay from the newest Attack on Titan game, and it looks really good, and it looks fun to play. And I know that it should be out already. The game looks fun. If you're an Attack on Titan fan, go look up some gameplay. The movement as when you're a human, using the steam-powered grappling hooks and everything. I can't remember what the gear's called off the top of my head, but it looks so close to what it is. And the controllers can scare you off just a little bit from what I've read, but once you've played a few, like an hour or so, you really start getting into the controls and you start understanding it. It becomes pretty much second nature. So check it out. If it's a game that you want to play, this is probably the best Attack on Titan that's been out. From what I've read, though, once you finish pretty much what is Season 1, there is an epilogue to it that slows down the game. If it would have been just the stuff from the Season 1, then it would have been much better, but they tried to shoehorn some of the Magna. I cannot speak today. But they shoe in some of that in there, and it kind of drags it down and makes it a little bit less fun. So just look into it and see if it is something that you want to play. And then I got to watch some of the gameplay of the Bioshock collection, and oh my, is it gorgeous. Now, Bioshock, I never finished the first one because it creeped me out. It was before I got really into horror games, but I tried, and it was always an interesting concept, always really creepy, which is a good thing, and it just had this aesthetic to it that most games don't achieve. They try to be this dystopian thing, but they never really get there. That they're just there, but they are missing that little element that pushes it into make it where it's something that will achieve video game history like Bioshock did. Rapture is just one of the greatest settings that has ever been in video games, and we're getting a collection with Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2, and Bioshock Infinite. Infinite has still one of the best stories, I think, connecting with a character and making you really care for that character, and an ending that is still one of the most talked about, one of the most mind-boggling ones that I can think of off the top of my head. So if you're looking forward to that, it's coming out September, and they have really done a number on this in a good way to make it look good and running on the newer systems. And if you haven't played them, then this is the time to check them out. I know I'll be getting it and playing through all of them. I know 2 is not the one that everybody likes, but you get all the DLC, you get all 3 games for a really good price, so there's no reason not to pick these up, to enjoy a game that is revered as something that is the pinnacle of a genre for a while. And of course, Bioshock 1 and Bioshock Infinite, they're 2 different types of games. One, yes, they're both first-person shooters in a way, but Bioshock 1 is more of a horror, suspense, thriller type game with some shooting in it, whereas Infinite is more of a shooter with a tad of the suspense. But still, very good games. I haven't played 2, so I can't tell you anything about that. But from seeing the gameplay, seeing stuff from the game and it running, it looks absolutely gorgeous. So do yourself a favor and check those out and get those, because you're going to have a good time, and for what they're charging for it, it's totally worth it. So moving on to some comic book news. The Flash movie villains rumored to be the Rogues. Now, we've seen Batman. Him and Spider-Man probably have the best Rogues gallery there are. Superman has okay villains. He has one or two that's actually worth even watching. But Batman and Spider-Man have always had great Rogues galleries. And the Flash has okay ones, but it's kind of weird. Now, this is just a rumor. A rumor suggests that the Flash will be up against the Rogues in his DC standalone movie. Heroic Hollywood claims that Barry Allen will face the loosely associated criminal group, which includes Captain Cold, Mirror Master, Heatwave, Weather Wizard, the Trickster, Pied Piper, the Top, and Captain Boomerang. Members of the Rogues have already appeared in The Flash, of course, and Gray Damon was recently cast as Mirror Master for the third season. Flash will hit theaters March 16th in 2018. I think this will be a good thing. I think Ezra Miller he has the look, he has the cutting wit that will be needed for Barry Allen. I know I've been upset that it's not a connected universe, but now it's happening, so I'm not going to complain about it. I think using the Rogues is the best way to do it. The only one that could really stand on his own would be Gorilla Grodd. That would be the only villain that I think could be a standalone other than a Zoom or a Reverse Flash. Those would be the ones that I could see being a standalone villain, but having all of these villains working in tandem, foiling the Flash's attempts and everything is going to be really cool. And you can also build those villains up, but put some strife between all of them where they start fighting amongst each other as it goes along. So I think that's a pretty interesting way. Hopefully it happens like that. It would be I think the best way to approach it, so you're not trying to explain a talking gorilla or a Reverse Flash and everything. I'm interested to see if they do a backstory in his standalone or if they leave it alone. I'm curious to see if they leave the origin stories out of the DC movies, because we all know them, but I don't know if they're ready to drop that trope. Now, on to some Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.2 news. Apparently, it was Chris Pratt's idea to cast Kurt Russell as his father. In an interview with Empire, Gunn said Russell was actually not in my head initially. Instead, it was Peter Quill, a.k.a. Star-Lord, actor who suggested to bring on Russell on board to play Ego, the living planet. Gunn went on to say would have been really disappointed if Russell turned down the offer, adding, "If you have to cast anything, Kurt's a pretty good way to go." Along with that, there was some new art that was shown for Guardians of the Galaxy through Empire, and it is all of the Guardians fighting a very large beast with tentacles and everything, and you see Gamora, you see Rocket Raccoon all firing at this, and Star-Lord and Drax the Destroyer going in with his knives, and you see this little bitty baby Groot down there, which is really, really cool. Sneak peek of a monstrous creature. So I'm wondering where this is in this. I'm wondering if they're going to face a big baddie like they did in the first volume, but really, really enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy, and I can't wait to see them go back to this, especially with the not necessarily failure in my mind that is Suicide Squad, but the kind of lackluster nature of that team-up movie for DC, going back to a movie that is one of my top 5 comic book movies, getting to see that go back in there with all of these characters that we grew to love when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy. It was like, what are they doing over at Marvel? They literally don't have anything if they're going with Guardians of the Galaxy, because Stan Lee sold the rights to X-Men and Spider-Man and all of these other big properties, the Fantastic Four. So Marvel has made gold out of like D-list characters and have done it in such a way that they're more memorable than the X-Men or the Fantastic Four. So I'm loving what they're doing, and I can't wait to see, Kurt Russell as Ego. I'm curious to see what that entails, because I'm not even sure who Ego really is, to be honest. His costume's pretty interesting as well, but I'm really, really liking what they're doing with that. And there was another set of info that was given out about another Marvel movie, and that's Thor Ragnarok. Now, Thor Ragnarok looks like it's probably going to be way better than the first two and seems pretty intriguing. And before I even get into this, if you haven't seen the mockumentary about Thor and what he did during Civil War, go check it out. It is worth it. It's funny. It's kind of it's some irony in there, so check it out. It's definitely worth the watch. But Thor Ragnarok, they've kind of nailed down where some things are happening. It's going to be happening in New York and Brisbane in Australia. And they had some different photos that have been going out, but that showcase some pictures in New York with Loki himself and Loki and Thor sitting in front of a newsstand. Loki looks really good with his black on black, even though he's dating Taylor Swift. Don't like that. But here's some possible spoilers that you might want to not listen to. There is a photo on set of Hemsworth holding a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, now this is spoilers, okay, just warning you, it says 177A Bleecker Street. Now, if you're a comic book fan, you know what that means. That is the address to Doctor Strange, Sanctum Sanctorum in Greenwich Village, in New York. So this is not confirmed that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be in Thor Ragnarok, but if he has a card with that in there, I can just pretty much safely assume that he's going to be in the movie if it's just a short cameo. Really looking forward to that. I know I give the Thor movies a lot of flack because of Robbie and everything, but I think Ragnarok will be really, really good, even though it has Jeff Goldblum in there as the Grandmaster. And I hope that we get, the start of Hulk, the Hulk world, where he's the gladiator and everything. I think that would be a really interesting way to make a Hulk movie by itself. But the movie will be hitting theaters in November 3rd, 2017. All right, guys, before we jump into the questions from our awesome Facebook group, guys, if you want your question on the Nerd Cave podcast, go over to facebook.com/nerdcave or just search Nerd Cave in the box of searching, okay? Then every week we put up, what's your topics? What do you want us to talk about and everything? We get awesome comments and awesome questions, and some of them turn out to be really, really long. You know who you are. I don't even have to say your name. But, guys, if you want to get this podcast early, you can go check out patreon.com/nerdcave and get this episode and all of our episodes early just by simply supporting us. Thank you to all of our awesome Patreon supporters for supporting us, getting our bonus episodes and getting our episodes early. Without your help, we wouldn't be able to keep the lights on. And a special shout out for our top Patreon supporter, Nick Caputo. Man, thank you. I appreciate all that you do for us and all that you've helped out with us in the past and what you're going to be doing for us in the future and everything. And thanks to everybody on Patreon for supporting us. And thank you for all the people that are listening or watching this episode on Facebook or wherever, or YouTube. We don't put it on Facebook. So there you go. All right. Into the questions we go. Derek Diamond asks, what flavor of ice cream does Zach taste like? I can't answer that question on this episode. Maybe on Nerd Cave After Dark. Derek Daniel asks, the rumor that Vin Diesel / The Rock feud might only be an act so they can have a WrestleMania match. I know earlier in the week we saw that it might be a thing that Rock versus Vin Diesel at WrestleMania might happen. I think it would be interesting, but we've seen in the past that actors brought in for WrestleMania or something like that. We've even seen freaking Donald Trump fight in some matches, which is totally ridiculous. They usually don't go really well. They're usually kind of bad, and I'm hoping if this happens that it will be good. I could totally see this being a thing, though, that they're trying to make this a real thing. You can even look at how the end of SummerSlam happened, the Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton thing. They're trying to go more of a reality TV way with WWE now, with all the brand splits and everything. But you can see that with SummerSlam. They're trying to go reality TV with wrestling. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it belongs in its own little subgenre and everything. But if this does happen, it'll still be pretty interesting to see. I'm going to go ahead and say The Rock wins. But as, you know, majority of the time these things go, the actor will win, so Vin Diesel will more likely win this match if it does happen. Derek also asks, thoughts on the Legion of Doom being the big bad for Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow, being made up of Captain Cold, Malcolm Merlin, Damien Dark, Reverse Flash, and is it also wrong for me to be excited for the villains this time around on Legends? I think it's awesome that they're bringing the Legion of Doom into the CW version of the DC universe. Legion of Doom was always one of my favorite things in the Super Friends cartoons. So I'm glad that it's happening. I hope they have like a lair in the swamp and it pops up. Oh, meanwhile in the Legion of Doom. I just want one episode. Please do that. Please do that. And it's an awesome cast of big bads. Reverse Flash is one of my favorite bad guys, and he's one of my favorite villains, and Malcolm Merlin is always a good villain. Being a good guy, he's not that good at that, so being a bad guy is going to be really, really good. And of course, Captain Cold, he can do no wrong. Adam Gumber asks, most interesting FPS this fall, and wow. And why? Now, before I answer that, I put a poll up on our awesome Facebook group asking what FPS, first-person shooter, if you don't know, are you looking forward to the most this fall? And the options were Battlefield 1, Destiny Rise of Iron, Bioshock Collector's Edition, Call of Duty, or Titanfall 2. Battlefield 1 beat out everything else, and next is Destiny Rise of Iron, and then Bioshock Special Edition. Call of Duty and Titanfall didn't even get any votes. Now, out of the new things that are coming out, Battlefield 1, hands down. It looks absolutely amazing. And I'm not a Battlefield fan just because it is not as good of game mechanics or gameplay as Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a masterclass of shooting. It is so much better in the shooting mechanics and the melee mechanics than Battlefield. Now, that being said, Call of Duty's the new game, I think it might be Infinite. I'm not 100% sure, just because it does not interest me in one bit. It looks boring. It looks like they're just pumping crap out at this point. Call of Duty used to be such a good franchise, and it just seems like they're just regurgitating an idea over and over and over again. But Battlefield 1, on the other hand, they've went all to the future and all of that good stuff, and modern warfare and this, that, and the other, and they're like, you know what? We're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back, and we're going to put it in World War I. And when I heard that the first time, I'm like, I don't know how that's going to go, but oh my God, it looks freaking amazing. The gameplay looks great. Seeing it from E3, all these massive battles. I've never been a Battlefield player, like multiplayer and everything, but I think it would be awesome to be able to, use trench warfare, use gas, have to put gas mask on, beat somebody's head in with a shovel. Like that is going to be such a good game. Destiny Rise of Iron, I don't personally care anything about because I'm done with Destiny. I have no reason to go back and play, and that's just me personally. Same thing with Tom Clancy's The Division. I'm just not in that headspace. I don't have the time to dedicate to the loot grind that is those games. Now Bioshock Collector's Edition, already talked about that earlier in the episode, but it's going to be an awesome game. I'm definitely going to take time and I'm going to play all through those 3 games, and it's going to be definitely worth it. Titanfall 2, the more I read about it, the better it sounded, but the more I read about it, it also sounded bad. They've got rid of a lot of things that made Titanfall what Titanfall is or was. Hopefully these betas have fixed it because they're actually listening, thankfully. But they tried to be more Call of Duty when that's not what they were. Their combat was really fast-paced. Their motion was really fast-paced. Everybody being able to get a Titan. That's the whole freaking point of the game, is Titans falling down and you getting to be in a mech. Instead of, tying that to someone's progression or how well they do, it's kind of dumb. I understand, you get all these Titans running around or, and they got rid of a lot of creeps. Creeps aren't going to be in but a few maps. It's the creeps helped with people that weren't that good. It was a way to have somebody join in and be able to kill the creeps and make their gameplay fun. Enjoy that game. When you play Call of Duty, if you're not good at Call of Duty, you get your butt handed to you, and that's not fun at all. So I think if they keep listening to the feedback that they're getting, they'll fix it. But there's no reason to try to be another Call of Duty because Call of Duty does a great job with their gameplay. I just wish they would make better stories. So, most interesting FPS from our Facebook group is Battlefield 1, and I would agree with that 100%. But most interesting shooter, not just first person, Gears of War 4 has me so freaking excited. So I cannot wait for that to come out. Next question also comes from Adam Gumbert. Best franchise games or otherwise to make into a trading card game. Let's see. I think Uncharted would be a pretty interesting one, simply because you've got so many good iconic heroes and villains in that, and the different powers or different each game also has this kind of mythological or spiritual power that, is making a big impact in the third act. So I think that would be a really interesting card game. Mad Max would be another one from all the different factions that are in that. Halo would be a good one as well because you have the UNSC, you have the Covenant, you have when the Covenant breaks, you have the elites, the grunts, and all of that. So that would be a really interesting one as well. But to me personally, trading card games aren't that big anymore, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal anymore to me. I know trading card games used to be really, really big when I was growing up. Next, Derek Daniel says, in an interview for Arrow, they said the flashbacks to Oliver's time away from Star City will end after Season 5, but they did go on to say that from Season 6 on, they will do flashbacks, but only for the episodes that make sense, with different characters such as Diggle or maybe Felicity. And they also talked about doing more flash forwards like they did last season. My question is, do you guys like this element about the show, or would you want them to just take a break from it? Haven't watched the last season of Arrow, so I can't tell you what I feel about those. But I think the flashbacks are such a big element that's been from the very first episode that it is something that needs to stay. I can understand that they don't want to do as many, but you could tell some stories that are intermingled in there. I know they're kind of filling in that timeline that Oliver was gone, but you could do the flash forwards or something to make it more interesting and keep those elements in there, because if you don't, then you're going to be putting more info or filler into each episode if you don't have those flashbacks, because that was a way to get those into there. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do with that. And then last one from Derek Daniel. They announced that Flash Season 3, that Gorilla Grodd would return this season, but that Barry and crew will have to go to the dimension they sent to him last season, which now has become Gorilla City, which is awesome, by the way. Just your initial thoughts on that, and do you think that some point before the Flash series ends, should Grodd be a main villain for a season? Yeah, I think he would be a great main villain, controlling people with his mind. I think they develop this character more and more, and especially with him being over Gorilla City and everything, I think this would be an awesome opportunity to build that character even more and then get him to be the main villain for one season. So I think it would be really cool to happen. So there's all the questions for this week's episode, guys. I hope you've enjoyed me talking about all these different subjects and by myself. Hopefully next week we'll have at least 2, maybe 3 of us on this show. But thanks for watching and listening. If you want the episode early, of course, go check it out over at nerdcave.com, patreon.com/nerdcave, and get it there early, and also get our bonus episodes. All of the tiers stack on each other, so if you support us at one of the higher tiers, you get everything else below that. And guys, your support is very important to us, if it be it monetary or be you're sharing our links when we're sharing stuff, or you say, hey, I know this really cool podcast that you would like, or hey man, you like video games, you need to check out this Let's Play of this game that you would be really interested in. That kind of support goes a long way, because it helps us grow, and we want to be growing, and we want to be more interactive. So, if you're listening to this and you haven't been a part of our Facebook group, go over to facebook.com/nerdcave, or look up Nerd Cave on Facebook and check it out there, guys, because we want to be very interactive. We want to have more and more discussions and do more polls like we've been doing. So check that out. And guys, if you can't throw us $1 or more on our Patreon, you can check out every day we put up a segment, Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday we put the whole thing up for your viewing pleasure, and it also comes out on all the podcast services. So guys, share it, like it, rate us on iTunes. That'll be the greatest thing ever, is getting all that love. Just shower us with love and affection. That's what we need. That's what we need in life. So guys, thanks for watching. This has been Zach for episode 173 of the Nerd Cave podcast, and have a week.